There is no question that there is, by definition, a conspiracy to mutate and attack the biology of humanity. And specifically, we're talking now about the assault on our hormone levels. The key thing here is that masculinity is now almost dead in this nation of the United States. Masculinity has been assaulted and feminized from estrogen mimickers like BPA, so on and so forth. And if there's one man that knows really what's going on, who's been researching this and telling me stuff off the air that blew my mind, it's Dr. Edward Group, who's been studying this for 2 decades, specifically with the attack on masculinity, but also the attack on women as well, with the hormones completely out of whack, insane emotional responses that make no sense, because your body is under such assault on a daily basis that we don't know what we're even thinking about oftentimes. And that's why we can't understand politically what's going on as well. So, Dr. Group, thanks for joining us, and tell us about specifically the root of this attack, how it ties into eugenics, and what's going on.
Well, a long time ago, even before the 1940s, when the German scientists and the Russian scientists wanted to, and the big companies like the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds wanted to put together a eugenics program because they saw that the world would be overpopulated in the future. They wanted to create ways to control the population, and the way that you do that, one of 2 ways, is you either increase the death rate or you decrease the birth rate. So they put things into action to decrease the death rate. Obviously, we know that with different types of chemicals, and they're killing us off with pharmaceuticals and stuff like that. But the big thing is the fact that they're manipulating the hormone levels in the body, and the fact that they're decreasing, or the plan anyway, is to decrease the birth rates. Now, how they're doing that is through many different ways. The oil and gas industry, which created different types of polyesters and oil and gas type derivatives, which led into plastic development, etc. Those are all endocrine disruptors. And the creation of the majority of chemicals out there, including the heavy metal toxicity, the way that they designed to attack the body was they knew that the pituitary gland, the pineal gland, the thyroid gland, the adrenal glands, all the glands in the hypothalamus, the thalamus, those are what regulate your sex hormones. Those are what regulate all the hormones. They knew that every cell in the body needed hormones for regulation. So they knew also about testosterone. And that's why I call this pretty much eugenics program, the Operation Testosterone, because the more that I get into this, the more things that I see. I mean, you could open up your cabinet in your kitchen and pull out eugenic stuff that mimics testosterone, suppresses testosterone, or increases the estrogen. Those are really the ways that they're trying to do this. And it all started, with trying to also, that's one method, is that they're trying to reduce these hormones. The second method is they're also using genetic manipulation. They want to manipulate the genes. The third method is division. They want to separate the males and the females. They want to break up the families because they don't want strong families. They don't want you to be creating healthy babies over and over and over again. So those are the 3 methods. The first one, through chemical warfare, dates back to Agent Orange and dates back to the chemicals such as pesticides. I mean, pesticides are some of the most extensive and damaging hormone disruptors that completely reduce the testosterone levels. How does this all come into effect, though? I mean, it really comes into effect when you ingest all these things in the womb when the baby's growing, because all children start as a female, which is very interesting when the eggs divide, and then only with the introduction of testosterone do the ovaries form into testes, and the clitoris forms into the penis.
And just the slightest amount of hormonal changes, though, can wreck the body. But we're talking about an assault from BPA, the estrogen mimicking chemicals that are like tied in almost every single study, 90% of the studies. Every woman with breast cancer has this inside of them. So it's a complete attack. It's a barrage on the gates of our biology, and we're talking about something that's so finite and so minute that even the slightest change could ruin our health.
Even the slightest change. I mean, who knows what we're going to see generations from now and generations from now and generations from now, but what we're seeing right now is we're seeing literally the feminization of the country, the demasculinization. I mean, we're having a lot of miscarriages, actually, because the female fetus is a lot stronger than the male fetus. And when like just after 9/11, when there was so much stress, we had an increase in miscarriages of males because stress has a lot to do with that. Obviously, the adrenal gland is a stress hormone, and it's still, your hormones are off, and it affects the endocrine. When I say endocrine disruptors, we're talking about things that increase estrogen and decrease testosterone. But endocrine disruptors also disrupt other hormones inside the body too. So what we're dealing with is the mothers that are eating soy products, for example, using personal care products, using antibacterial soaps that have triclosan in it. I mean, all these petrochemicals, all these chemicals that are going to disrupt their natural hormones, from shampoos to makeup. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. They're constantly exposed to this. This, as well as birth control pills, which was another method of reducing the population by increasing estrogen concentrations. All these things tied together are going to alter the fetus. Now, when the fetus inside, if there's not enough testosterone, then the fetus is going to turn into a female. And if it turns into a female, that's great. Like in Peru, because of all the petrochemical companies down there dumping things in the water, they're having 8 women to every 1 male right now. So they figured the least males on the planet, then, usually males are the aggressive ones. It's easy to control women, and it's easy, women are pretty passive. But if they have a lot of aggressive males, those are the ones that can challenge them. And that's the main focus, is to dumb the males down. And the problem with fertility is usually with males, because 50% of males have low sperm counts, and 80% have sperm that doesn't swim the right way, or it's not in the proper form, or it's, not correct as far as being able to plant that seed, because the sperm is going to determine whether it's a male or female, but then also once the fetus is in there, it's going to change into a male or a female.
Well, you notice there are a lot of studies on this, and scientists, and they're always trying to look for some outside immediate source without thinking about the chemicals, the plastics, the BPA, nothing. They're always just thinking, well, it might be genealogically that we've come to this point through evolution that we no longer are having fertility rates skyrocket and all this stuff, when they're saying now infertility is such at a drastic amount that within the next 1,000 years we could face extinction. And this is ramping up over and over again. Why do you think? Is it just because they're paid off? They're not even referencing things like BPA.
Well, it's, the media doesn't want you. The media is behind it too, because the media, it tries to separate males. They only report on the divorces. They only report on all the bad things that males are doing. They're reporting on the kind of things that manipulate society through media. And, the men, which are becoming so feminine, and they're, they were born with smaller penises or whatever, and now they're lazy. They don't want to work as much. I mean, it's harder to find a job. It's harder to find men. Like if you go back 50 or 60 years when men really had higher testosterone levels and they were willing to work, and they were, they did, their pheromones that they were releasing were attracting women. And now the pheromones that men are releasing are actually attracting men and not really attracting, because the alpha male is becoming more of a submissive type of a male, because they have higher estrogen levels. They're getting man boobs. They're having a hard time with erectile dysfunction. They're having a hard time with impotence. I mean, all these things are affecting the male, which psychologically affects the male's alpha male ability to have confidence and approach women and everything else. And so it's easier for a male now to sit at home, play video games, be lazy, watch porn, and not, put himself out there, or not feel like that testosterone-based male.
I think that's key, though, at a societal level. When we look at what's going on, a lot of people think ideologically the society has warped, which it is. But chemically, we're so imbalanced, and we're so attacked by all this garbage in the food supply, the GMOs, the BPA, and all of it, that it's really biological. It's really physically we're changing, and that's altering our mental state. So if we break this down enough, I think that really explains why society is where it's at.
Tune in to prisonplanet.tv for an extended broadcast.
Now you can watch The Alex Jones Show live as it happens at Infowars.com/show.
You'll find links to all of our content there and a free 15-day trial for Prison Planet TV.
More than 60 movies and documentaries all in one place at Infowars.com/show.
We have a serious problem right now. We have little girls thinking they're boys, and we have little boys thinking they're girls, and we have the majority of the population that can't even get pregnant. You know, we have low testosterone levels in, 80% of the males, high depression. You know, we have prescription medications like statins, which are causing low testosterone levels. I mean, if you look at the majority of the problems that we're facing right now and the increasing incidence of disease and degenerative disease and cancer, it's all, most of it linked. Well, it's all linked to chemical toxicity, but the majority of it is linked to the fact that the operation of population control factors are put in place, and that people don't, you might hear something on the news about how fluoride is better. You might hear something about BPA, but you're not digging deeper and deeper and deeper and saying, wow, is it every single thing I touch? All these cleaning products I have in my house that are, estrogen, that are going to increase my estrogen levels.
Parabens and everything.
It's really about jacking the estrogen levels up and pushing the testosterone levels almost non-existent. And that's what's causing all these hormone disruptions. That's what's causing them in the womb. It's all getting into the water supplies all over the world. You have the gender-bending chemicals that are affecting everybody. I mean, think of how many people drink tap water. And not only that, bottled water and well water, where you think you're drinking clean water, they don't filter out the hormones and some of these other chemicals.
And even if they're BPA free, they now have BPS, which is arguably twice as bad, and there's nothing that I've seen that's BPS free. So really, you can't avoid it. It's on the currency, and when you print something out from a printer, it's on the ink from that. It's in plastic water bottles. It's pretty much in everything. And then also the wrappings of the food, it'll leach into the food supply. So when you're eating something, you're eating BPA inside of it. So it's impossible to escape
plastic. There's over 100 different forms of that are just endocrine disruptors, just like BPA. That was a whole scam when they outlawed baby bottles with BPA, because they knew that if they got baby bottles outlawed as BPA, they could still use it in everything else. And it's still used as a liner inside of all the cans, and even organic juices and everything like that.
And let's not forget, the FDA had the opportunity to ban BPA, and they chose not to do so.
No, because it looked good, because the American Chemical Society came in and said we want BPA banned in baby bottles. But if you do the research back, there was very little, if any, BPA ever in baby bottles anyway. So it didn't even really matter. They just used that as a scapegoat to say, look over here and forget about BPA, and everybody just automatically assumes that BPA has been banned, but it's still in any flexible plastic. You can still, any microwave that you cook your food in is going to heat the BPA and put it directly into the food. And there's other ones too that are out there. So,
meanwhile, they're also loaded with GMOs, which the FDA says is perfectly safe. And it just goes in, it is an operation. It is a eugenics operation, because otherwise they would take it out. The overwhelming majority, 96%, wants to label GMO foods, take it out of the food supply, get rid of BPA, but they're not doing it. It is an operation, an attack on us.
Especially since pesticides are high in endocrine disrupting and lower the estrogen levels and lower increase the estrogen levels and lower testosterone. I mean, when you look at Roundup, which is the #1 pesticide, glyphosate, you look at
which is now in the groundwater.
Which is now in the groundwater, atrazine, and we haven't even gone into the factors and the chemicals that they're spraying in the air through chemtrails. We know high levels of aluminum also are depressing testosterone levels. Actually, gluten and grain and wheats and foods suppress testosterone levels and increase estrogen. So, I mean, when you can look at everybody these days. I mean, look at girls having their menstrual cycle at 9 years old. You could look at girls' hands and feet. I mean, if you look at a girl's hands and feet like 20 years ago, now if you compare a guy's hands to a girl's hands and feet, they almost look exactly the same. I mean, so we are becoming a nation which is hormone disrupted, and the relation, how that affects the other part of it is the relationships, because women are on birth control pills, you know, the plastics that are in, you know, sexual toys, stuff like that, condoms release chemicals into the vaginal canal, the douches that they spray in the vaginal canal. I mean, if you look at the big picture, every pretty much thing you touch and everything that's being introduced to your body sucks your testosterone levels down and increases your estrogen levels. And it's just a disastrous suit that's happening. So your body doesn't know what to do with it, and your body starts freaking out, and you have depression. And, you know, you can have depression, you can have weight gain, you can have so many different things.
Well, you were telling me all those sexual items have super high levels of dioxin, which is arguably one of the most toxic compounds in the world, and they also have BPA and everything else. It's totally by design, just sticking in all the places that will affect you most. Even stuff, your toothbrush now has BPA on it.
That's right.
Everything.
That's right.
Yeah.
Everything, pretty much everything in your bathroom, all your cleaning supplies, all your, you know, pesticides if you use any, they all have estrogen increasing, and soy and the foods, genetically modified organisms. That's the genetic manipulation part of it, because you know that with the studies on rats that, you know, feeding them genetically modified foods created infertility for, you know, 4 generations later.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, they couldn't even have kids, so that's what we're running into.
Attack, yeah.
You know.
So you've been looking at this. You started because of plastics. You started because of BPA and plastics, right?
I did, because we were seeing all kinds of cancer patients, and my dad was involved in the production of plastics. I mean, he was, you know, his thesis was done on the creation of PVC. I mean, he actually was one of the creators of PVC plastics. And whenever he came out, and he mysteriously died within 2 weeks. He was doing some work with Exxon, then he was doing some work for the government during the Reagan administration. And I didn't find out later that how heavily involved he was. Just recently, within the last 6 months, I actually found a document in a paper that he was about to release, because I thought this whole time that he didn't know what was going on. You know, I thought that he thought he was doing good for humanity, and he was putting all these plastics out there. What I found out was he was actually about to come public with a paper saying how dangerous plastics were, and that they actually cause cancer.
Wow.
And so, you know.
And that was your father, and then you decided you were inspired by all of that, and you came out and started fighting against all the garbage and the plastic and helping people naturally.
Yeah, my whole thing was I knew we all had a self-healing mechanism, and you know, my whole life has been dedicated to finding out the root cause of what causes all these diseases, what causes all these deficiencies, and then looking at them and saying, because if you know this stuff and you have a list of everything, then you can avoid it. And it's about avoiding them and then strengthening your body.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask. If there's anyone who would answer this, it's definitely you. So I know there's certain ways to avoid BPA, you know, with the water bottles and everything like that, and I try to do the best I can. I get a glass water bottle and everything like that, but it's almost impossible to avoid it. What would you say are the ways to avoid it? And then since we really can't avoid all of it, what's the best way to fight back against it and reclaim your health in that aspect?
Well, you know, educating yourself. I mean, you know, educating yourself and reading more about it and learning what type of things are going to increase your estrogen and then lower your testosterone. And that's what led me to develop, because I started looking, what's out there? You know, what can I do? What can I take? Because, I mean, even though I'm healthy and I avoid these things, you're still going to be exposed to it. I mean, you know, you can even the radiation from Fukushima, you know, that messes with your hormones. Electromagnetic radiation from cell phones. I mean, we all live in a slough with the cell phone towers and everything. Those are also disruptors. So what can you do about it? Well, I don't want to go, you know, the medical community and the pharmaceutical companies are going to say, ha, you know, we've made all kinds of money on selling you all these plastics, and you're just buying your own death from us. And now, when you come to us for help, whether you have impotence and you need Viagra, which is spiked with testosterone-lowering phthalates in there,
and worse, you actually have it in your documents there.
It contains
I do. Some of the most dangerous chemicals that we even know for the supplement industry.
Right, and it's being put in. You know, these things are actually being put in supplements too. I mean, so I wanted to figure out how, you know, how can we reduce the estrogen. This is the solution. Reduce the estrogen and increase the testosterone levels. I mean, there's got to, you know, even though the evil, you know, population control eugenics plan is there, and a lot of people don't know about it, at least there is a solution if you just figured out how to do it. So I went around the world and looked at different types of plants, you know, that would naturally help you balance out or repair your hormones inside your system, and slowly start bringing up those hormones and bringing that estrogen level down, but letting your body do it instead of going to a hormone replacement therapy.
The key, though. You don't want the synthetic testosterone that the doctor may prescribe you. You want your body to naturally produce the testosterone on its own, and that's what makes your research way different than the others.
Yeah, there's a difference when you say, well, first of all, the pharmaceutical companies, they did it, they create disease, they created andropause. Andropause has only been around probably for 10 years or so.
Which is when you get older and your testosterone levels go down and your hormones get out of whack.
Yeah, when your hormones get out of whack. And so andropause, they create the disease and then they create the solution, which is come to the doctor for hormone replacement therapy, get your testosterone patch, get your testosterone injections, which who knows where it comes from, it's synthetic. But it's not the natural way the body heals itself. And when you put hormones into the body, it's just like steroids when they use them in bodybuilding. If you don't take some time off, or if you do it continually, then your body senses those hormones in the blood and decides not, and just shuts down the glands. It's like when you start taking insulin when you're a diabetic, and then your pancreas says, well, I don't even need to produce insulin anymore because it's already in the blood, so everything shuts down. So that's not the right method, it's not the right approach. The right approach is give your body, you know, everything, there's always an answer and solution in nature. You just need to find it. And that's what we did, is put everything together into one formula, which is Super Male Vitality, that people can take safely. And it doesn't contain testosterone. What it does is it just works on your endocrine organs, and it works on your glands to be able to naturally produce higher levels of hormones that you need so you can get your body back in shape and body back in balance.
Now, I've been taking Super Male Vitality, the InfoWars Life exclusive Super Male Vitality, and I was with you when you were developing it. It took you 5 years, by the way. A very long time, and you were looking at, actually, you went up into the Himalayas, and we harvested this Shilajit, and it's this, tell people what Shilajit is exactly.
Shilajit is a mineral that actually comes out of the mountain at a certain time of the year, and it's high in fulvic and humic acid, and it's got a lot of minerals, and it's got a lot of vitamins, and it's got really more of a balancing effect. I mean, it's been used, traced back to, I think, 2,000 years in Ayurvedic medicine, and they use it to provide the support to the glandular system. It really contains a lot of the minerals and everything the glandular system needs to produce the testosterone, because a lot of those chemicals actually shut down your cells that produce testosterone, or, you know, regulate your hormones. So what we want to do is focus on getting those cells healthy again so your cells can produce that. You know, people are malnourished, they're dehydrated, they don't have enough water. So the Shilajit is one component of many in that formula that actually helps balance your body and bring your hormones back to normal state.
And the key thing is, and we just talked to Alex's friend Shane Steiner on this, wanting to actually go work out is the key thing. When I take Super Male Vitality, it actually makes me want to go and work out, as opposed to sitting around saying, yeah, I'll work out sometime. You know, when I take it, I feel like going to the gym, and I've actually been going to the gym now, and I'm doing a challenge to see what I can do in the next 60 days. And it actually does promote natural testosterone production in your body, as opposed to taking some overpriced supplement that's giving you synthetic garbage hormones that are actually doing more bad than good for you in the first place. So in closing, tell us a little bit about how it works specifically with your body, Super Male Vitality.
Well, the good thing is everybody's body is different. I mean, so it doesn't matter if you're, 20 years old, 30, 40, 50, or 60, and you could take 100 males and test their testosterone levels, and you'll get different, amounts. So it's not like you have to regulate it for this person or regulate it for this person, because in the natural state of things, it will feel what your body has and how you need it. And you brought up a good point, because anybody that's 20 years right now, 20 years old, I mean, for the last 20 years, they don't really know what it feels like to have testosterone in their body. Because I can remember when I was a kid having that desire, that hunt, you have that Your muscles feel strong. You have low body fat around your waistline. But all the kids born in the last 20 years, it's very sad because they don't know what being a man feels like. They don't know what that masculinity feels like because they've been bombarded with all these chemicals, and it started in the womb. And unfortunately, if it starts in the womb, it's really hard to correct. So what this does is help you feel like a man again. You know what I mean? And it will actually help with your fertility as well, because the goal is to get the cells, the testicular cells, to start producing more testosterone again naturally, and that is really the key. I mean, if I could say, you know, if there's one major conspiracy out there, it would be this eugenics program with manipulating genes, you know, manipulating the hormones and suppressing the ability for people to conceive and bring healthy children into this world.
And we need to fight back.
And we need to fight back.
I'll tell you, there's no question that this product works. There's absolutely no question. Alex can't even take it anymore because he gets so pushed into overdrive that he wants to do the show for like 12 hours. So we had to tell him to lay off of it for a little while, but it does give you energy. And I know for a fact that now I actually want to go to the gym, and I have been going for the past week or so getting into this. And I want to thank you for, you know, actually researching and putting all the time into it. I know you spent hundreds of hours. I mean, for Fluoride Shield, you spent just 100 hours looking at the documentation, and this took you 5 years. So I would encourage everyone to check out InfoWarsLife.com and look up the Super Male Vitality, and also check out Survival Shield and Fluoride Shield. But I really encourage you to try it out and see how it works for you, because I know it actually really does work, and it's given me innovation and inspiration to go out and get back on track, because I actually did get out of shape for a little while, and I'm reclaiming it right now. So check out InfoWarsLife.com and Super Male Vitality.
Now you can watch the InfoWars Nightly News streaming live as it happens for free.
Check it out at Infowars.com/show.